drunk the soup and eaten the chips and fish and the English salad. The children have drunk English water. We've eaten well this evening. That's because we live in the suburbs of London and because our name is Smith. Potatoes are very good, fried and fat. The salad oil was not quite rancid. The oil from the grocer at the store is better quality than the oil from the grocer across the street. It's even better than the oil from the grocer at the bottom of the street. However, I prefer not to tell them that the oil is bad. However, the oil from the grocer at the corner is still the best. Mary did the potatoes very well this evening. The last time she did not do them well. I do not like them when they are well done. The fish was fresh. It made my mouth water. I had 2 helpings. No, 3 helpings. That made me go to the WC. You also had 3 helpings, Mr. Smith. However, the 3rd time you took less than the first 2 times. While as for me, I took a great deal more. I eat better than you this evening. Why is that? Usually it is you who eats more. It is not appetite you lack. But still, the soup was perhaps a little salt. It was saltier than you. Ha ha ha. It also had too many leeks and not enough onions. I regret I didn't advise Mary to add some aniseed stars. The next time I'll know better. Our little boy wanted to drink some beer. He's going to love getting tiddly. He's like you. At table, did you notice how he stared at the bottle? But I poured some water from the jug into his glass. He was thirsty, and he drank it. Helen is like me. She's a good manager, thrifty, plays the little daughter who drinks only milk and eats only porridge. It's obvious that she's only 2. She's named Peggy. The quince and bean pie was marvelous. It would have been nice, perhaps, to have a small glass of Australian burgundy with the sweet, but I did not bring the bottle to the table because I did not wish to see or set the children a bad example of gluttony. They must learn to be sober and temperate. Mrs. Parker knows a Romanian grocer by the name of Popescu Rosenfeld, who has just come from Con Diploma from the School of Yogurt Making in Adrianople. Tomorrow I shall buy a large pot of native Romanian yogurt from him. One doesn't find such things here in the suburbs of London. Yogurt is excellent for the stomach, the kidneys, the appendicitis, and the apoptosis. It was Dr. Mackenzie King who told me that. He's one of the ones that takes care of children and the neighbors, the Johns. He's a good doctor. One can trust him. He never prescribes any medicine that he's not tried out himself. You know, before operating on Parker, he had his own liver operated on first, although he was not the least bit it.
But how does it happen that the doctor pulled through while Parker died?
Because the operation was successful in the doctor's case, and it was not in Parker's.
Then Mackenzie is not a good doctor. The operation should have succeeded with both of them, or else both should have died.
Why?
A conscientious doctor must die with his patient if they can't get well together. The captain of ship should go down with his ship into the briny deep. He does not survive alone.
One cannot compare a patient with a ship.
Why not? A ship has its diseases too. Moreover, your doctor is as hale as the ship. That's why he should have perished at the same time as his patient, like the captain and his ship.
I hadn't thought of that. Perhaps it is true. And then, with what conclusion do you draw from this?
All doctors are quacks, and all patients too. Only the Royal Navy is honest in England.
But not sailors.
Naturally. Here's the thing I don't understand. In the newspaper, they always give the age of deceased persons, but never the age of the newly born. That doesn't make sense.
I never thought of that.
It says here that Bobby Watson died.
My God, the poor man. When did he die?
Why do you pretend to be so astonished? You know very well that he's been dead these past 2 years. Surely you remember that we attended his funeral a year and a half ago.
Oh yes, of course I do remember. I remembered it right away, but I don't understand why you yourself were so surprised to see it in the paper.
It wasn't in the paper. It's been 3 years since his death was announced. I remember it through an association of ideas.
What a pity. He was so well preserved.
He was the handsomest corpse in Great Britain. He didn't look his age. Poor Bobby. He'd been dead for 4 years and he was still warm. A veritable living corpse. How cheerful he was.
Poor Bobby.
Which poor Bobby do you mean?
It is his wife that I mean. She is called Bobby too, Bobby Watson. Since they both had the same name, you can never tell one from the other when you saw them together. It was only after his death that you could really tell which was which. And there are still people today who confuse her with the deceased and offer their condolences to him. Do you know her?
I only met her once, by chance, at Bobby's burial.
I've never seen her. Is she pretty?
She has regular features, and yet one cannot say that she is pretty. She is too big and stout. Her features are not regular, but still one cannot say she is very pretty. She is a little too small and too thin. She's a voice teacher.
And when do they plan to be married, those two?
Next spring, at the latest.
We shall have to go to their wedding, I suppose.
We shall have to give them a wedding present, I wonder what.
Why don't we give them one of the 7 silver sovereigns that were given to us for our wedding, and which have never been of any use to us? How sad for her to be left a widow so young.
Fortunately, they had no children.
That was all they needed! Children! Poor woman, how could she have managed?
She's still young. She might very well remarry. She'll look in well in the morning.
But who would she take care of? You know very well that they have a boy and girl. What are their names?
Bobby and Bobby, like their parents. Bobby Watson's uncle, old Bobby Watson, is a rich man very fond of the boy. He might very well pay for Bobby's education.
That would be proper. And Bobby Watson's aunt, old Bobby Watson, might very well, in her turn, pay for the education of Bobby Watson, Bobby Watson's daughter. That way, Bobby Watson's mother, could remarry. Has she anyone in mind?
Yes, a cousin of Bobby Watson.
Who? Bobby Watson?
Which Bobby Watson do you mean?
Why, Bobby Watson. The son of the old Bobby Watson. The late Bobby Watson's other uncle.
No, it's not that one. It's someone else. It's Bobby Watson's, the son of old Bobby Watson, the late Bobby Watson's aunt.
Are you referring to Bobby Watson, the commercial traveler?
All the Bobby Watsons are commercial travelers.
What a difficult trait. However, they do well at it.
Yes, when there's no competition.
And when there is no competition?
On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Tuesdays.
Ah! 3 days a week? And what does Bobby Watson do on those days?
He rests, he sleeps.
But why doesn't he work those 3 days if there's no competition?
I don't know everything. I can't answer all your idiotic questions.
Oh, are you trying to humiliate me?
You know very well that I'm not.
Men are all alike. You sit there all day long, a cigarette in your mouth, or you powder your nose and rouge your lips, 50 times a day, or else you drink like a fish.
What would you say if you saw men acting like women do, smoking all day long, powdering, roughing the lips, drinking whiskey?
It's nothing to me, but if you're only saying that to annoy me, I don't care for that kind of joking. You know that very well. Oh!
Oh, my little ducky daddle. What a little spitfire you are.
Oh!
You know that I only said it as a joke.
Ah!
What a ridiculous pair of old lovers we are. Come, let's put our things and go bye-bye.
Enter!
Oh, it's chilly outside. I'm the maid. I've spent a very pleasant afternoon. I've been to cinema with a man, and I've seen a film with some woman. After the cinema, we went to drink some brandy and milk, and then read the newspaper.
I hope that you spent a pleasant afternoon, that you went to the cinema with a man, and that you drank some brandy and milk.
And the newspaper. Mr. and Mrs. Martin, your guests, are at the door. They were waiting for me. They didn't dare to come in by themselves. They were supposed to have dinner with you this evening.
Oh, yes. We were expecting them. And we were hungry. Since they didn't put in an appearance, we were going to start dinner without them. We have not eaten all day. You should not have gone out.
But it was you that gave me permission. You didn't do it on purpose. I bought me a chamber pot.
My dear Mary, please open the door and ask Mr. and Mrs. Martin to step in. We will change quickly.
Why have you come so late? You are not very polite. People should be punctual. Don't you understand? But sit down here.
Excuse me, madam, but it seems to me, unless I'm mistaken, that I've met you somewhere before.
I too, sir. It seems to me that I've met you somewhere before.
Was it, by any chance, at Manchester, that I caught a glimpse of you, madam?
That is very possible. I'm originally from the city of Manchester, but I do not have a good memory, sir. I cannot say whether it was there I caught a glimpse of you or not.
Good God, that's curious. I too am originally from the city of Manchester, madam.
This is curious.
Isn't that curious? Only I, madam. I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
That is curious. What a bizarre coincidence. I too, sir. I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
Madam, I took the 8:30 morning train, which arrives in London at 4:45.
That is curious. How very bizarre. And what a coincidence. I took the same train, sir. I too.
Good Lord, perhaps then, madam, it was on the train that I saw you.
It is indeed possible, that is, not unlikely. It is plausible, and after all, why not? But I don't recall it, sir.
I traveled second class, madam. There is no second class in England. But I always travel second class.
That is curious. How very bizarre. And what a coincidence. I too, sir. I traveled second class.
How curious that is. Perhaps we did meet in second class, my dear lady.
That is certainly possible, and it is not at all unlikely, but I do not remember very well, my dear sir.
My seat was in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear lady.
Curious is that. My seat was also in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear sir.
How curious that is. What a bizarre coincidence. Perhaps we met in compartment 6, my dear lady.
It is indeed possible after all, but I do not recall at all, my dear sir.
Tell the truth, my dear lady. I do not remember it either, but it is possible that we caught a glimpse of each other. And I think of it, it seems to me even very likely.
Oh, truly, of course. Truly, sir.
How curious it is. I had seat number 3 next to the window, my dear lady.
Oh, good Lord, how curious and bizarre. I had in seat number 6, next to the window, across from you, my dear sir.
Good God! How curious that is, and what a coincidence. We were seated facing each other, my dear lady. It is there that we must have seen each other.
How curious it is. It is possible, but I do not recall it, sir.
To tell the truth, my dear lady, I do not remember it either. However, it is very possible that we saw each other on that occasion.
It is true, but I am not sure at all of it, sir.
Dear madam, were you not the only lady who asked me to place her suitcase in the luggage rack, or who thanked me to give me permission to smoke?
But of course, that must have been I, sir. How curious it is. How curious it is, and what a coincidence.
How curious it is. How bizarre. What a coincidence. And well, it was perhaps at the moment that we came to know each other, madam.
How curious it is, and what a coincidence. It is indeed possible, my dear sir. However, I do not believe that I recall it at all.
Nor do I, madam. Since coming to London, I have resided on Broomfield Street, my dear lady.
How curious that is. How bizarre. I too, since coming to London, I have resided in Broomfield Street myself, sir.
How curious that is. Well then, perhaps we've seen each other on Broomfield Street, my dear lady.
How curious that is. How bizarre. It is indeed possible after all, but I do not recall it, my dear sir.
I resided at number 19, my dear lady.
How curious that is. I also resided at number 19, my dear sir.
Well then. Perhaps we've seen each other in that house, my dear lady.
It is indeed possible, but I do not recall it, dear sir.
My flat is on the 5th floor, number 8, my dear lady.
How bizarre. What a coincidence. I too resided on the 5th floor in flat number 8, my dear sir.
How curious it is, how curious it is, how curious it is. And what a coincidence. You know, in my bedroom there's a bed. And it's covered with a green eiderdown. The room with the bed and the green eiderdown is at the end of the corridor between the WC and the bookcase, dear lady.
What a coincidence, good Lord. What a coincidence. My bedroom too has a bed with a green eiderdown, and at the end of the corridor between the WC, dear sir, and the bookcase.
How bizarre. Curious, strange. Then, madam, we live in the same room and we sleep in the same bed. Dear lady, it is perhaps that we have met.
How curious it is, and what a coincidence. It is indeed possible that we have met there, and perhaps even last night, but I do not recall it, dear sir.
I have a little girl, my daughter. She lives with me, dear lady. She's 2 years old. She's blonde. She has a white eye and a red eye. She is very pretty, and her name is Alice, dear lady.
What a bizarre coincidence. I too have a little girl. She is 2 years old, has a white eye and a red eye. She is very pretty, and her name is Alice too, dear sir.
How curious it is, and what a coincidence and bizarre. Perhaps they are the same, dear lady.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible, dear sir.
Then, dear lady, I believe that there be no doubt about it. We have seen each other before, and you are my own wife.
Elizabeth, I have found you again.
Donald, it's you, darling. Go.
Elizabeth and Donald are not too happy to be able to hear me. I can therefore let you in on a little secret. Elizabeth is not Elizabeth, and Donald is not Donald. And here is proof. The child that Donald spoke of is not Elizabeth's daughter. They are not the same person. Donald's daughter has one white left eye and one red eye, like Elizabeth's daughter, whereas Donald's daughter has a white right eye and a red left eye. Elizabeth's child has a right red eye and white left eye. Thus, all of Donald's system of deduction collapses when it comes up against the last obstacle, which destroys his whole theory. In spite of the extraordinary coincidence, which seemed to be definitive proofs, Donald and Elizabeth are not being the parents of the same child. And not Donald and Elizabeth. It is in vain that he thinks he is Donald. It is in vain that he thinks she is Elizabeth. He believes in vain that she is Elizabeth. She believes in vain that he is Donald. They are sadly deceived. But who is the true Donald? Who is the true Elizabeth? Why has any interest in prolonging this confusion? I don't know. Let's not try to know. Let's leave things as to what they are. My real name is Sherlock Holmes. All right.
Darling, let's not forget all that has not passed between us. And now that we found each other again, let's try not to lose each other anymore and live as before.
Yes, my darling.
Good evening, dear friends. Please forgive me for having made you wait for so long. We thought that we should extend you the courtesy to which you are entitled, and as soon as we learned that you have been kind enough to give us the pleasure of coming to see us without prior notice, we hurried to dress for the occasion.
We've had nothing to eat all day. We've been waiting 4 whole hours for you. Why did you come so late?
Oh, but definitely.
We all have colds.
Nevertheless, it's not chilly.
There's no draft.
Oh no, unfortunately.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Don't you feel well?
No, he's wet his pants.
Oh no, sir, at this age you shouldn't.
The heart is aging.
That's true.
So they say.
They also say the opposite.
The truth lies somewhere between the two.
That's true.
Since you travel so much, you must have many interesting things to tell us, no?
My dear, tell us what you've seen today.
It's scarcely worth the trouble, for no one would believe me.
We're not going to question your sincerity.
You will offend us if you think that.
You will offend them, my dear. Don't you think that?
Oh, well, today I witnessed something extraordinary. Something really incredible.
Tell us quickly, my dear.
Oh, this is going to be amusing.
At last.
Well, today when I went shopping to go buy some vegetables, which are getting dearer and dearer.
Where is it all going to end?
You shouldn't interrupt, my dear. It's very rude.
In the street near a cafe, I saw a man dressed properly, nearly 50 years old, or if that even.
Ooh, what?
Who? What?
Don't interrupt, my dear. You're being very rude.
My dear, it is you who interrupted first, you bore.
What was this man doing?
Well, I'm sure you'll say I'm making this up, but I saw a man on one knee. He was bent over.
Oh.
Yes, bent over.
Not possible.
Yes, bent over. I went near him to see what he was doing. He was trying to tie a shoelace, which has gotten undone.
Fantastic!
If someone else had told me this, I'd not believe it.
Why not? One sees things even more extraordinary every day. When walked around, for instance, today, in the underground, I myself saw a man quietly sitting on a seat, reading his newspaper.
What a character.
Perhaps it was the same man. Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there.
I'll go out
I'm going to give you another example.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
There must be somebody there. I'll go and check. Nothing. You said you were going to give us another example.
Oh, yes.
Goodness, someone is ringing.
I'm not going to open the door again.
Yes, but there must be someone there.
The first time there was no one. The second time, no one. Why do you think there's someone there now?
Because someone has rung.
That's no reason.
What? When one hears the doorbell ring, that means someone is at the door ringing to have the door open.
Not always. You've just seen otherwise.
In most cases, yes.
As for me, when I go to visit someone, I ring in order to be admitted. I think that everyone does the same thing, and that each time there is a ring, there must be someone there.
That is true. In theory. But in reality, things happen differently. You have just seen otherwise.
Your wife is right.
Oh, you women. You always stand up for each other.
Well, I'll go and see. You can't say that I am obstinate, but you will see that there is no one there. You see, there's no one there. These men who always think they're right and who are always wrong.
Goodness, someone is ringing. There must be someone there.
Don't send me to open the door again. You see that it was useless. Experience teaches us that when one hears the doorbell ring, it is because there's never anyone there.
Never.
That's not entirely accurate.
In fact, it's false. When someone hears the doorbell ring, it is because there is someone there.
He won't admit he's wrong.
My husband is very obstinate too.
There's someone there.
That's not impossible.
No.
Yes.
I tell you, no. In any case, you are not going to disturb me again for nothing. If you wish to know, go and look yourself.
I'll go. Oh, how do you do? It's the fire chief.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Smith, you appear to be angry.
You see, it's because my wife is a little chagrined at having been proved wrong.
There's been an argument between Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. Fire Chief.
This is no business of yours. I beg you not to involve with outsiders in our family arguments.
Oh my dear, this is not so serious. The fire chief is an old friend of the family. His mother courted me, and I knew his father. He asked me to give him my daughter in marriage, if I ever had one, and he died waiting.
Oh, that's neither his fault nor yours.
Well, what is it all about?
My husband was claiming.
No, it was you who was claiming.
No, it was she.
No, it was he.
Don't get excited. You tell me, Mrs. Smith.
Well, this is how it was. It is difficult for one to speak openly to you, but a fireman is also a confessor.
Well then,
We were arguing because my husband said that each time the doorbell rings, there was always someone there.
It is plausible.
And I was trying to say that each time the doorbell rings, there is never anyone there.
It may seem strange.
But it has been proved. Not by theoretical demonstrations, but by facts.
That's false. Since the fire chief is here, he rang the bell, I opened the door, and there he was.
When?
But just now.
Yes, but it was only when you heard the doorbell ring the fourth time that there was someone there. And the fourth time does not count.
Never. It is only the first 3 times that count.
Mr. Fire Chief, permit me in my turn to ask you several questions.
go right ahead.
When I opened the door and saw you, it was really you who had rung the bell.
Yes, it was I.
You were at the door, and you rang it to be admitted.
I do not deny it.
You see, I was right. When you hear the doorbell ring, that means someone rang it. You certainly cannot say that the fire chief is not someone.
Certainly not. I repeat to you that I was speaking of only the first 3 times, since the 4th time does not count, dimwit.
And when the door rang the first time, was it you?
No, it was not I.
You see, the doorbell rang and there was no one there.
Perhaps it was someone else.
Were you standing at the door for a long time?
3/4 of an hour.
And no one saw you?
No one. I'm sure of that.
And did you hear the bell when it rang the second time?
Yes, and that wasn't I either. And there was still no one there.
Victory! I was right!
Not so fast. And what were you doing at the door?
Nothing. I was just standing there. I was thinking of many things.
But the 3rd time, it was you who rang.
Yes, it was I.
But when the door was opened and saw nobody in sight.
That was because I had hidden myself. As a joke.
Don't make jokes, Mr. Fire Chief. This business is too sad.
In short, we still do not know whether, when the doorbell rings, there's someone there or not.
Never anyone.
Always someone.
I am not going to reconcile you. You both are partly right. When the doorbell rings, sometimes there is someone, and other times there is no one.
This seems logical to me.
I think so too.
Life is very simple. Go on, kiss each other.
We just kissed a little while ago.
They'll kiss each other. They'll kiss each other tomorrow. They have plenty of time.
Mr. Fire Chief, since you have helped us settle this, please make yourself comfortable. Take off your helmet and sit down for a moment, if you will.
Excuse me, but I can't stay for long. I should like to remove my helmet, and I haven't time to sit down. I must admit that I have come to you for another reason. I am on official business.
And what can we do for you, Mr. Fire Chief?
I must beg you to excuse my indiscretion. You don't mind in front of them?
Say whatever you like.
We're friends. We're old friends. Tell us everything.
Speak.
Well, is there a fire here?
Why do you ask that?
It's because, pardon me, I have orders to extinguish all the fires in the city.
All?
Yes, all.
I don't know. I don't think so. Do you want me to go and look?
There can't be one here. There's no smell of anything burning.
None at all? You don't have a little fire in the chimney? Something burning in the attic? Or in the cellar? A little fire just starting, at least?
I am so sorry to disappoint you, but I do not believe that there's anything here at the moment. I promise that I will notify you if we do have something.
Please don't forget. It would be a great help.
That's a promise.
And there's nothing burning at your house either?
No, unfortunately.
Things aren't going so well just now.
Very poorly. There's been almost nothing. A few trifles, a chimney, a barn, nothing important. It doesn't bring in much, and since there are no returns, the profits are on outputs and very meager.
Times are bad. That's true all over. It's the same time this year with business and agriculture as it is with the fires. Nothing is prospering.
No wheat, no fires.
No floods either.
But there is some sugar.
That's what's important.
It's harder in some cases of fires. The tariffs are too high.
All the same, there's an occasional asphyxiation by gas, but that's unusual too. For instance, a young woman asphyxiated herself last week. She had left on the gas.
Has she forgotten it?
No, but she thought it was on her comb.
These confusions are always dangerous.
Did you go see the Machino?
There's nothing doing there. He is insured against fires.
Why don't you go see the vicar of Wakefield and use my name?
I don't have the right to extinguish clergymen's fires. The bishop would get angry. Besides, they extinguish their fires themselves, or else they have them put out by this Vestal versions.
Go see the Durans.
I can't do that either. He's not English. He's only been naturalized, and naturalized citizens have the right to have houses, but not the right to have them put out if they're burning.
Nevertheless, when they set fire to it last year, it was just about the same.
He did that all by himself, clandestinely, but it's not I who would report him.
Neither would I.
Mr. Fire Chief, since you are not too pressed, stay a little longer. You would be doing us a favor.
Shall I tell you some stories?
Oh, by all means, how charming of you.
Yes.
Yes,
the more
yes,
stories,
yes.
the more. And what is even more interesting is the fact that fireman stories are all true. And they're based on experience.
I speak from my own experience. Truth. Nothing but truth.
That's right. Truth is never found in books. Only in life. Begin.
Be quiet, he is beginning.
Excuse me. Don't look at me that way. You embarrass me. You know that I am shy.
Isn't he charming?
I'm going to try to begin anyhow, but promise me that you won't listen.
But if we don't listen to you, we won't hear you.
I didn't think of that.
I told you he's just a boy.
Oh, the sweet child.
Chin up.
Well then, the dog and the cow, an experimental fable. Once upon a time, another cow asked another dog, "Why have you not swallowed your trunk?" "Pardon me," replied the dog. "It is because I thought that I was an elephant."
What is the moral?
That's for you to find out.
He's right.
Tell us another.
A young calf had eaten too much ground glass. As a result, it was obliged to give birth. It brought forth a cow into the world. However, since the calf was a male, the cow could not call him mama, nor could she call him papa, because the calf was too little. The calf was then obliged to get married, and the registry office carried out all the details completely à la mode.
A la mode de Cayenne.
Like tribes.
You've heard that one.
It was all in the papers.
It happened not far from our house.
I'll tell you another. The cock.